Hello, everyone. Welcome back for yet another enthralling session at the Deep Tech Innovation Alley. My name is Parag. I'll be moderating the next session, which is titled AI: Decode, Visualize, and Conquer. For the past 3 days, we've had some amazing panel discussions, some innovative solutions presented by some unique startups, and we have an exciting lineup for the final day of Deep Tech Innovation Alley as well. Let me introduce my speaker for this session, Mr. Ajay Kabadi. He's the founder and CEO of Docketrun, which helps gain actionable real time insights through AI enabled video analytics. And they firmly believe in shaping a better future with AI. Hi, Ajay. Warm
Hi,
welcome. How are you doing?
good. How about you?
All good, all good. So, Ajay, before you begin with your presentation, would love to know about your journey so far. What's made you move towards video analytics, and how's it helping organizations?
Okay. So, my journey started as an entrepreneurship back in my college days, where I used to tinker a lot into hardware, helping a lot of students' projects, and that's where I got exposed to startups ecosystem incubation as well, and that's where the buzzword startup started in.
Right.
But directly instead of getting into, I became a technological head for Deshpande startups, trying
Right.
to predominantly help with various startups gain and knowledge, which predominantly gave me a good experience as well as exposure by working with so many founders who are well experienced and well diverse on the segments what they are working with. And through that, we started with AI as a solutions. Failed a lot of times, pivoted ourselves, and now we see that solutions that we are providing in heavy industries are actually solving their pain problems. We understand their pain problems really well, and expanding our vision-based analytics to lot many heavy industries like steel, automotive, cement factories, etc. So yeah.
That's great to hear, Ajay. Thank you. I'm sure the audience is keen to know more about the use cases, how you're helping organizations. Please proceed.
Sure. Please confirm once the screen full screen mode is on.
Sure. Yeah, I can see your screen.
Great. Um, to give a little bit background on the topic, what we have in is decode, visualize, and conquer, where I would like to specifically mention on how, in an industry's perspective, where the cameras which are already being there, already be getting used, mainly used for surveillance or to analyze more of an incident solution which has already happened, and then you visualize those. But how this can, as a video of the cameras coming in, how it can add as a third eye, where we can integrate our computer vision solutions out of it, which can process on real time, and we can conquer and make sure that we can indicate and make sure that these incidents what we observe in can we prevent those as well. uh, so when we talk about video data as such, we collect a lot of data. We have seen lot many of cameras in a factory part. Basically, they use it for mainly to make sure that there are zero accidents, might be, or to check the employees' productivity part of it. Apart from that, we see in industry on quality inspections solutions as well. So how we can build these data points and the data part of it? How do we do that? Is first usually we acquire the data from respective cameras. We annotate, we process the data. We tell that these are the annotations, these are the objects that needs to be labeled, and post the training of these AI models. It can be a cloud-based video analytics solution, or it can be an on-prem based solutions, again enabled by GPU-based systems, which can analyze, which can object track, which can classify, which can also do an activity recognition as well. So we have seen these industries, but how do we leverage? Because there are so many cameras out of it, and how do we see these incidents? And we have made a great research with Docketrun by working with lot many steel plants, cement plants, automotive, and we work with largest of these across India power plant, and we have seen these incidents occurring and how we are combating this. So typical as an architecture, what we have seen in an industry, there are multiple cameras where these multiple cameras usually are an IP-based cameras which are powered via PoE module, which is power over Ethernet. And how this works in is we have a power over Ethernet module where this PoE powers those cameras, which gets connected to a control room, or within PoE there is a NVR, which is a network video recorder, which basically records maybe a 30 days, 45 days data. But now what we have seen differently over here in this particular architecture is to make sure that we have added a smart AI video analytics system where in the smart AI video analytics system, which analyzes the live feed coming in. How do we analyze those live feeding? Is we use is something called as real-time streaming protocol, which is called as RTSP, where we can take the feeds coming from the different brands, different cameras. But since the RTSP URL will change in, but the protocol remains the same, where it goes to an AI video analytics system, which has an GPU-based enabled system in it, where pre-processed with all the AI models present in that, where a controller will have a great flexibility now, rather than looking at multiple cameras at a time. Uh, the person who will be evaluating these cameras will be only be seeing those incidents. We'll talk about in next presentations as well how we capture and what type of analytics which we can capture in an industry. But this is how our overall architecture looks like, which combines an added integration which can be present in the same local network where we can process all these data. And the reason the industries require these solutions on premises because we can process this on real time, which we can make sure that the incidents are being prevented before it can happen. So that's how an edge come into a place. There are many use cases which are there, which I can touch upon, but these are the predominant ones what we have been seeing and we have been working on in this sector. One, of course, is the PP detection. Uh, when I talk about PP detection, it's not about only on the PP detection and say it's helmet vest, but there are different combinations of arc jackets, cool coat, which is electrical shock resistant jackets. There are leg guards to basically make sure the fire resistant ones. So you can analyze these set of use cases with a PP detection, which I would say. And whenever it next comes in is on product quality inspections. When I say product quality inspection, it might be a bar where a bar basically being numbered by an automated machine to cross verify with the numbers of the number of production what is being made, the quality of the product. It might be a dent, scratches, variation sort of it. People working on a restricted area or a confined space, I would say, where a particular zone where the machine is moving by, and if it's about to hit a person, how we can create a geofencing based scenario, which I'm going to talk on individual use cases also, uh, which checks about if a person is very near come a machine about to it, or we can stop by integrating directly through the PLC controller. And during fire mock drill, crowd analytics plays a major role. And we have seen two sectors also in an industry, specifically talking about steel. There are electrical maintenance based shutdown which happens and mechanical based shutdown which happens. So there are checklists which been provided. These are mainly the paperwork based checklist, but AI can bring in by seeing all these scenarios right at fingertips. It can analyze all these scenarios of the checklist which is being predefined, and if there is any deviation as such can be captured. To give an example as such, in mechanical, there is something called as an U seal for gas chambers, which basically need to be checked with lock detection as well as water detection over there, which brings in an isolation part of it. There are multiple combination we have seen like mechanical SOPs, like there are a lot of sensors out there for fire and smoke, based sensors, but there are a couple of areas where the presence of fire and smoke sensor is not been there. So that's where the normal cameras itself can play a major role on detecting the fire and smoke part of it as well. To talk specifically about the use case as such, to monitor the traffic counts basically helps in mainly the fired mock drills as well. If there is a condition which comes in where the fire extinguisher presence, as well as during the mock drill, or we have observed a fire and smoke over here, the number of people who are present in those zones or the particular building, which can be counted and can be cross verified, or the people coming out. So that creates a major scenario, so that anybody stuck in the building can be well coordinated from control room, which analyze that there were around 50 people, but my analytics system engine is saying around 48 people out there. Two people are still there inside, so that's where a control room can take a required actions on that. Next thing is perimeter protection. This is very an interesting one. We have seen perimeters for compounds. There are a lot of trains moving by inside a factory to carry all the raw materials, or it might be a machine moving by. So the yellow mark which you see in is the geofencing which you can create, a tool which you can connect with your cameras, and you can create these regions. And whenever people come to these regions, where you can see we can have a land-based hooter with sirens based on the camera settings. So based on this particular camera role, I need to have a trigger so that a person coming to these restricted areas comes out of the fencing area because it's dangerous. Or it similarly might be a machine moving by, where when it says machine moving by, a machine is about to hit a person. There is a land-based relay system. It is stopping the machine by connecting to their existing PLC controller. So that becomes a great role in making sure that there are zero accidents coming out to the factory coming into place. These are fire and smoke detection as well, because when we go with thermal based cameras, we always have seen the changes in the high pricing standards for the thermal based cameras. But can we utilize cameras which are out there? It might be a 2 megapixel camera or 4 megapixel based cameras, connect to the existing system, train our model to detect these type of scenarios, so that required actions can be taken whenever the scenarios comes into place. License plate we have already seen. One of the factor what I've seen in a lot of industries is the speed limit, mainly 20 kilometer per hour or 30 kilometer. We need to make sure that the areas or the departmental based locations what we have in, uh, a license plate along with the speed detection plays a major role, and that's getting tagged with the vendors who are coming into an industry, the employees who are working and their respective cars being tagged, and also the contract based workers having the vehicle. So this gives a great automatic channel system rather than a manual mode, because we already can segregate them into three categories which I was mentioning. It might be customers as a vendors which might be coming in, or it might be contract workers or employees, and based on that an LPR can make a major change. And one of the interesting factor is, rather than using a license plate recognition system of a camera itself, we can utilize the normal camera, mount it at an angle uh, being specified, and we can run a license plate on the 4 megapixel resolution at an HD based itself. One of the key areas, there are a couple of areas where trucks are being restricted to basically park their vehicles, which might carry the materials which been traveling. So we can identify those zones as no parking zones, because those might be a crucial or production areas where the restrictions have been made for the parking zones. That's where no parking zones can be a one more area to explore in. One of the recent discussion with a lot of industries department with crane based HOD as just whenever people take a back reverse from a forklift, we have seen the accidents occur, and there are a lot of major accidents just occurred a couple of months back. So a similar system with the same camera in place, which can be mounted at the backside, how we have in usually in cars, and create a virtual based geofencing out of it, which can dynamically change the area where this camera is connected to a edge box. An edge box can be of NVIDIA GPU, it can be of Jetson family, which NVIDIA provides in with Xavier NX, and they have recently released Orion as well. These boxes usually connect with a couple of cameras you can easily analyze in, and the output can be triggered to the existing forklift or the existing camera and
For the audience, please stay online. I think Ajay would be joining back in a couple of minutes.
being considered. So these kind of conditions holds good for forklifts as well as the crane operations, I would say. So these are the combinations of video analytics which are being there, and there are various machine vision based analytics which has gone in, where machine vision, apart from the normal cameras, predominantly there is machine vision based systems which can come into the defect identification part of it, or OCR detection as such. They would recommend a machine vision cameras, but from the normal cameras, these are the possibilities that we have seen in, since there is already an infrastructure available. But this is an addition to just one box as additional, which has an intelligent system running it. And the customers what we work with, they need real time, and these data can be made available in cloud for further processing. But everything which gets processed on the real time, and the model gets processed on real time, the model is present offline, so there is no need of internet connectivity as such. I'd like to show you, we work with a lot of clienteles, like we work with Tata Steel, Maruti Suzuki, Morris Garage, MG, Tata Hitachi. But one of the predominant, what we have also been working with JSW Steel as well, in one of the steel factory. So would like to show you as one of a small demo scenario, how it actually runs. This is for one feed, which I'm trying to play a particular video, but this runs for 50 cameras. It can go beyond 500 cameras as well. Only the GPU stacks remains the same. The technology that we have built in, it can multi-detect, multi-classify things, and multi-check the activity recognition along with the checklist in place. And this is for one video scenarios where the video I'm trying to play. So as he enters by, there is a hooter which is getting triggered over there. And by the time the geofencing area he comes out, the hooter stops. So it's on real-time land-based connectivity. It can similarly work with relay systems as well. So truck is scenario where the trucks are coming inside. They usually take the reverse gear, and there are a couple of areas which needs to be observed, of truck taking back, truck taking front. So it's always a crucial factor, and these are the incidents which you have seen, and leading to a major death scenarios as well. leading to a major accident. So how we can combat those is we create these multiple fences. So the area of the field view, which sees like this, where the automatically shutter opens and the vehicles comes back, which makes sure that there is no person standing by. If it does, then there is a driver who gets an intimation via the systems. And hooters, apart from that, it can be a voice announcement system as well, which can talk in various languages like Hindi, Kannada, English, Telugu, Tamil, based on the languages what the factory might require it, which can become a much improvised based on an incident which might occur. And all data, usually what is being captured, are captured in snapshot or a small snippets of videos, which directly gets used by a control room people, and then they can basically play around and make sure on these parts of it. So yeah, thanks. It was. I hope I was able to provide a great gist about video analytics from the normal cameras helping these heavy industries as such.
Hey, thanks, Ajay. I think especially the videos at the end put what you showcased earlier into perspective. We genuinely believe that if you're able to predict or even prevent these accidents, it goes a long way for helping an organization maintain health and safety as well. Just I'll shoot a few questions, Ajay. There are a few questions coming in from the poll as well, but I'll start with the one which I had. So the does this require an additional CCTV or any other camera to be installed specifically for the solution, or does existing cameras work as well?
So one of the interesting factor is it works with existing infrastructure. There is no need of any special cameras. It can be an combinations of multiple brands of multiple different brands of a cameras, uh, where
Okay.
basically we have a engine where you can just select the brands which you choose in and then give the respective IP address and start creating your own rules. So we give that play around from a customer centric itself to play around these applications what you want to run.
Right. So that's great. I think the versatility and the way it's customizable, the solution would really be helpful. There's an interesting coming in question coming in. Are there any specific industries or sectors where computer vision is particularly effective in driving better decision making? We saw a few examples of manufacturing industries, but do you foresee this being used in the other verticals as well?
I've seen good adaptation in steel plants that we are working with, where we have seen very crucial monitoring over there. We have seen billet bars where the automated marking of the billet bar gets marked with every number, which with an OCR is being scanned, which gets updated to the database. We have seen this video analytics usage a lot onto their quality inspections of their coil wrap, coil inspection, how much the gap between those wraps as such, which basically can minimize their downtime as well. So I would say that with steel, the adaptation is really going well, and looking for these type of innovations specifically on this. And interesting part on automotive would like to mention, whenever the car comes out, the lights which you see in the parking lights, the flashlights, and then you take a backlights, right? So everything gets scanned instead of one manual person. Every time whenever the production happens, he tries to manually observe by, but now car is itself taking an adaptation of that. So there are good adaptation on video analytics on the normal cameras in these industries, what I have observed it.
Right. Thanks. I was hoping that this question comes up because it's an important aspect when you relate everything to data, right? So, how does your platform handle data privacy and security concerns related to processing and analyzing visual data?
It's a great question. So, uh, always the data, what we work with customers, we have a strict NDA with them. We capture these videos, and these we have an in-house annotation team. We since we can't outsource as well, since we already have a strict NDA in place. We train this model. We go at site and then improvise these models, and we load these models. We can't even expose to a network port as well, again, since these are very crucial systems that we work with a Odisha based industry, where our visits are predominant because we are building an SOP checklist for these electrical panels, and any data it goes out is very strict with Docketrun in place. And once we train our model, annotate, train our model, we deploy into our GPU based systems, and then take it forward, and it processes, shows the data live on that system only, and nobody will be able to access. Local network, yes, they are able to access, but not outside the network.
Great. I think we can take one last question before we wrap up the session. So this question is slightly large, but I'll just cut it down. How would you handle large scale deployments and accommodate growing data volumes? Because we saw specific uh, industries using it for specific purposes, but imagine it being deployed in a large scale. How would that challenge be addressed?
One of the interesting factor is to generalize these models, the AI models, and take it forward. Basically, it will be for customer to customer. Customer might have multiple plans segregated, but their protocols, their standards remain the same. If I were to talk about as an example with steel industry itself, with one particular client like JSW Steel, across if you consider Karnataka, Maharashtra, and their Odisha plants, all their PP standards, their protocols remain the same. So once the model gets trained and adapts to their situations, maybe environment might change a little bit, but the model comes into a better stage, and it can be further scaled up, which will be more of a replicating mode, tuning these models further. So specific to specific industries, this model can go on horizontal based deployments once the model adapts in and sees these type of scenarios.
Got it. Ajay, on that note, we are out of time. Thank you so much for presenting your solution and showing us some use cases.
Thank
For
you.
the
Thank you.
audience, thank you. For the audience, we have polls in your engage section. I would encourage you to answer those polls, help us understand if you're interested to know more, and help us help you keep your organization safe. Stay tuned in for the next session. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Parag.